So let's talk about the invisible forces that are right now shaping our digital world, the code that decides what we see, what we click on, and yeah, more and more, what even gets created in the first place. These are the algorithmic gatekeepers, and we're going to dive in and unpack how these systems are completely reshaping our lives online.
Have you ever had that feeling? You know the one. You're just scrolling your For You page, and it keeps serving you video after video that feels so perfectly, almost spookily you. It's a really common experience, but here's the thing. It's not magic. It is the result of some of the most sophisticated software ever built, and it's all designed with one main goal in mind: to keep you watching.
But what's the real cost of that perfectly curated feed? For an artist like Alicia Renese, and honestly so many others, the stakes are super personal. It's become this fight for your creative soul in a world that's increasingly being run by code. So, yeah, this is a story about technology for sure, but it's really about the people on both sides of that screen. Okay, so first, let's talk about our experience as the viewers. We've all been there, right? You feel that pull, that weird time warp that happens when you open an app just for a minute, and then you look up and whoa, an hour has just vanished. You know that feeling of lost time? It's not an accident, especially not on these short-form video feeds. Things like infinite scroll and autoplay, well, they are deliberately designed to maximize the time we spend on these platforms. It kind of puts you in this state of passive consumption, where you're not really choosing what's next, you're just kind of letting the algorithm decide for you. The whole system is engineered to make you feel like you've lost just a little bit of control.
So how does this thing actually work? How does a platform like, say, YouTube sort through literally billions of videos to find the one it thinks you want to see right this second? Let's take a peek inside that infamous black box.
Okay, so at its core, a recommendation algorithm is basically a prediction engine. Its whole job is to look at this impossibly huge library of content and make a really, really educated guess about the handful of videos that are going to grab your attention right here, right now.
Now, what's really fascinating is how YouTube's system does this. It's a two-step process. First up, you've got candidate generation. Think of this as the broad search. The system scans billions of videos and just pulls a few hundred that might be relevant based on your viewing history. But then comes the second crucial step, ranking. This is where it gets personal. A way more precise model scores that smaller list, looking at things like what kind of thumbnail you're likely to click on to create that final, hyper-personalized list just for you.
So that's how it works for us, the people watching. But what about the folks actually making the videos? Well, for them, the algorithm isn't just a feature. It's like their boss, their audience, and their biggest obstacle, all rolled into one. This is a question from a musician named Augie Bello. And wow, it gets right to the heart of the problem for creators. I mean, think about it. The guy has a huge following, but his engagement rates have just tanked. What that means is the direct link, that connection between a creator and their audience, it's been severed. Your followers might not even see your work anymore. And this creates a totally new reality. Creators aren't just making content for their fans anymore. They're making it for the algorithm. They feel like they have to serve the machine with every single post, just hoping it gets picked up and shown to people. It's a constant performance, a nonstop need to prove your worth, not to a community that loves you, but to a system of ones and zeros. And this quote, it just powerfully illustrates the emotional toll. The artist Alicia Renese describes it as being trapped on a track, just constantly running with no finish line in sight. I mean, that is a recipe for serious burnout, where the joy of actually creating something gets totally replaced with the relentless pressure to perform for the machine. And this pressure, it doesn't just affect creators. This relentless global push for more and more engagement has much bigger consequences for all of us, and maybe especially for young people. Yeah, research from Mental Health America really shows the darker side of this design. Because these algorithms are built to maximize engagement, they often end up amplifying the most emotionally charged, the most polarizing, and sometimes the most outright false content. And here's the wild part. Young people are incredibly self-aware about this. Almost 87% know these platforms are designed to be addictive, but knowing that doesn't make it any easier to actually log off. And they're asking for help. A staggering 94.5% of young people believe that digital well-being needs to be taught. They see this huge gap between how the digital world is actually working and what they've been equipped to handle. It's a really clear call for a change. So, is there another way to do this?
Is it even possible to build a digital world that doesn't run on this endless treadmill of algorithmic engagement? Well, thankfully, it looks like a new model is starting to emerge. In response to all this burnout and frustration, a whole new ecosystem of platforms is starting to grow, and their philosophy, it's fundamentally different. They're being built to actually serve creators, not just to mine their content for ad dollars. So we're seeing platforms pop up like Discord, which lets creators build their own private, walled-off communities, and Blue Sky, which is trying out a more open, decentralized kind of social network. And then there are tools like Kajabi for selling your own courses, and Substack, which has brought back the simple, powerful email newsletter. Their real power comes from a totally different business model. By focusing on subscriptions and direct payments instead of ads, their success is tied directly to the creator's success. It gives creators back control and, crucially, a direct line to their audience. And just look at the difference this makes. On a platform like Patreon, 72% of creators are confident their fans will actually see their work. Now compare that to just 56% on YouTube, or, get this, a mere 48% on Instagram. That's the difference between shouting into the void and actually speaking directly to your community. This quote from Patreon's report, it just sums up this entire movement perfectly. It is a fundamental shift in who holds the power in the creator economy. Which, of course, brings us to our final question. And this really is the central tension of the modern internet. As we spend more and more of our lives living through these systems, it's a question really worth thinking about. In this vast digital world that we've built, who is truly serving whom?